Welcome to this deep dive from the Deep Dive by 5W Media.
Great to be here.
Today we're tackling a really fundamental topic, something that touches everyone, mental health, and specifically the role of therapists.
Yeah.
And, the whole process of psychotherapy.
Yeah, it's so important. We've gathered quite a bit of expert advice on finding the right person, understanding things like emotional intelligence.
Right, and the science behind why therapy works, plus those signs that maybe, it's time to seek some professional help.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to distill all that down, pull out the key insights to help you navigate this whole area.
Okay, so maybe the place to start is just, why does this matter so much? The role of therapy.
Well, I think first, it's crucial to understand mental health isn't like an on-off switch. It's not just, I have a problem or I don't.
Ah, okay.
Think of it more like a spectrum, a continuum, really, just like physical health. Some days you feel great, other days less so.
That makes sense. So everyone's sort of on that spectrum somewhere.
Precisely. And we can all benefit from actively, nurturing our minds, understanding how they work.
Okay, so let's unpack therapy itself then. Our sources, they make it clear it's not just like venting, right? It's a structured process.
Definitely. It's aimed squarely at improving mental well-being. It's about helping you understand your own mind better, how to handle difficult feelings.
Then building healthier habits, changing mindsets.
Exactly. Building those healthier patterns. It's like, well, you're almost actively rewiring things for the better.
Rewiring. That's interesting. So it's not just talk, it's leading to actual change.
Yeah, and the science, the neuroscience actually backs this up strongly. Our experiences, and therapy is an experience, they can literally change our brain's structure and function.
That's the neuroplasticity thing I've heard about.
That's it, neuroplasticity, guiding the brain towards a healthier state. Therapy can even, down the line, affect how your genes express themselves related to mental state.
Wow.
Yeah, for instance, when people get better at controlling their emotions, studies show corresponding changes in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's sort of reasoning hub.
And the research we looked at, it suggests these kinds of approaches, behavioral and emotional, can be just as effective, sometimes even more effective than medication.
For certain conditions, yes, like anxiety, depression, even OCD, that's a pretty powerful idea for a lot of people.
It really is. It suggests an alternative or complementary path.
And it's not just about managing symptoms in the moment. Therapy aims for long-term change, like we said, influencing brain structure, strengthening neuron connections.
You mentioned cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Right. So, for example, in individuals with psychosis, CBT has been shown to strengthen the connections between the amygdala, the fear center, and that prefrontal cortex.
So it's really about building connections, making the brain work better.
It suggests a genuine rewiring, yeah. It equips you with lasting skills, self-insight for future bumps in the road.
Building resilience, essentially.
Exactly. And the broader impact seems pretty significant, too. Our sources pointed out psychotherapy can reduce disability, morbidity, even mortality rates.
And improve work functioning, lower psychiatric hospitalizations. Those are big outcomes.
Huge. Plus, therapy often leads to fewer relapses for things like anxiety and mild to moderate depression compared to just using medication alone.
And even short-term therapy can have long-lasting effects. I think I saw that mentioned for PTSD.
That's right. Studies with PTSD patients show benefits can stick around long after therapy ends.
And there was also dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. For adolescents.
Yes, DBT has shown really good results for adolescents in inpatient settings dealing with self-injury and suicidal attempts. It highlights that different approaches work for different challenges.
Which neatly brings us to, well, how do you know when it might be time to consider therapy? What are the signs?
That's a key question. Given all these potential benefits, what should people look out for in themselves?
Well, the sources suggest a big one is just repeated emotional problems that are really getting in the way of daily life. Things just feel consistently off.
Right. And there are more specific flags, too, like persistent anxiety, feeling totally overwhelmed a lot of the time.
Constant overthinking. That loop you can't get out.
Exactly. Or feeling low, tearful often, maybe getting easily angered, or finding it really hard to regulate your emotions.
Changes in sleep or eating habits too, right? Or pulling away from friends, family.
Losing interest in hobbies you used to love, struggling at work or school, feeling hopeless.
Or using substances to cope. That's another sign.
Definitely. And of course, any thoughts of self-harm are a very serious signal that professional help is needed right away.
But it's so important to stress, you don't need to be at rock bottom.
No, not at all. You don't need a formal diagnosis either. Therapy can help with current struggles, sure, but also with self-esteem, relationships, working through past stuff.
So what are the upsides then, if you do decide to go?
Well, you get access to evidence-based techniques, for one. Plus, a space to talk openly, confidentially with someone who isn't going to judge you.
That non-judgmental aspect feels key.
It really is. And you gain huge self-awareness, understanding your past, your triggers, why you react certain ways.
Which can lead to better relationships, communication.
Absolutely. Boosted self-esteem, better communication. And these days, access is often pretty convenient, with online options available too.
Okay, so let's say someone recognizes some signs, sees the benefits. How do they actually find a therapist? That seems like a hurdle in itself.
It can feel daunting for sure. The experts suggest starting by defining your goals. Like, what do you actually want to get out of this? What areas need help?
So being clear on the why.
Yeah, because working towards the same goals with your therapist really improves the chances of a good outcome. Then there's the practical stuff.
Insurance, finances. Yeah, got to figure that out.
Right. Therapy is an investment. Knowing your coverage, your budget, that's step one.
What about referrals, like from friends or a doctor?
They can be a great starting point, but, it's very personal. What worked wonders for your friend might not click for you. Everyone's needs are different.
Good point. So maybe look at local resources too, community centers.
Yes, and trusted online databases are a big help now. Many specialize in connecting people with therapists.
And there are national organizations and even specific resources for people of color, right? That seems really important for finding someone culturally sensitive.
Hugely important. Resources like Therapy for Black Girls, the Yellow Couch Collective, the Black Mental Health Alliance, Therapy for Latinx Inclusive Therapists. There are quite a few now focused on connecting people with therapists who understand their specific cultural context and experiences.
That's fantastic. So once you have some potential names, what should you ask them?
Good question. You definitely want to ask about their license, how long they've been practicing, their experience with the specific issues you're dealing with.
Their specialties, what kind of therapy they use.
Exactly. What treatments they find effective. Also practical things. Can they prescribe medication or refer you if needed? Do they offer telehealth?
What about expectations, like how long until I might feel better? What if the plan isn't working?
All excellent questions. And definitely ask about cultural sensitivity if that's relevant and important for you, especially around experiences of trauma or discrimination.
And watch out for red flags, I suppose.
Yes. Things like the therapist interrupting a lot, clearly not listening, being late all the time, or dismissing your concerns, those are signs it might not be a good fit.
Trust your gut, basically.
Absolutely. Prioritize your comfort. It is perfectly okay to switch therapists if the connection isn't there.
Those 15-minute consultations, some offers sound like a good idea then.
A very good idea. Lets you test the waters, see if you feel comfortable before committing to a full session.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Emotional intelligence, or EI. The sources really emphasize this for mental well-being.
It's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So EI, fundamentally, is about recognizing, understanding, and managing your own emotions.
Okay.
And also understanding and influencing the emotions of other people. It's awareness inside and out.
And it breaks down into components.
4 main ones. Self-awareness, self-regulation, social awareness, which includes empathy and social skills.
Self-awareness sounds like the starting point. Understanding your own feelings and how you come across.
Exactly. It's the foundation. People high in self-awareness tend to be more confident, creative, make better decisions, build stronger relationships. They just communicate more effectively.
Makes sense. If you don't know yourself, it's hard to manage yourself or connect well with others.
Precisely, which leads to self-regulation. That's managing your emotions and behaviors. Pausing instead of reacting, staying calm under stress.
So you don't fly off the handle, essentially.
Yeah.
Allows for a more positive outlook, adaptability.
Right. Then there's social awareness, understanding others' emotions. Empathy is key here. Not just knowing what someone feels, but sort of sharing that feeling, wanting to help.
People good at this are probably better at giving feedback, too, because they get the other person's perspective.
That's what the research suggests, yeah. They're often more compassionate. And finally, social skills influence, handling conflict, teamwork, inspiring others. Crucial for healthy relationships everywhere.
So how do we actually get better at this stuff? Improve our EI?
Well, one practical thing is just consciously recognizing and naming your emotions as you feel them. Like, okay, I'm feeling frustrated right now.
Just labeling it helps.
It does. Seeking feedback is another big one. Ask trusted people, managers, friends, family, how you come across emotionally. It might be tough to hear, but so insightful.
Okay. That takes some courage.
It does. And maybe surprisingly, reading literature with complex characters can actually boost empathy. You're exploring different motivations, perspectives.
Interesting, like exercising your empathy muscle through fiction.
Sort of, yeah. Expanding your understanding of the human emotional range. Now, let's tie this back more directly to the therapist's role.
Right. So therapists, they provide support across a huge range of issues, right? Mental health conditions, but also just big life events.
Definitely. Working with individuals, couples, families, groups. Their main tools are active listening, compassionate communication.
Trying to understand the client's problems, feelings, and then offering solutions or advice.
Well, maybe less direct advice and more helping clients develop their own healthier thinking and behavior patterns. Psychoeducation, crisis counseling, specific therapies for depression, anxiety, addiction, trauma.
And there are different types of therapists, too. Psychotherapists, marriage and family therapists, counselors, even art or music therapists.
Yeah, each field has a slightly different focus or uses different techniques. And they work everywhere: hospitals, clinics, private practices, schools, even correctional facilities.
But the core goal is helping people develop coping strategies and maybe get at the root causes.
That's the aim, empowering clients. And again, it's not just for severe illness. It could be anxiety about work, relationship troubles, a whole spectrum of life issues.
And emotional regulation seems central to what therapists help with. You mentioned some specific techniques.
Yes, several evidence-based approaches focus on this. There's acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT.
Okay, what's that about?
ACT focuses on accepting difficult emotions, acknowledging they're part of life rather than fighting them, and committing to actions aligned with your personal values. Psychological flexibility, they call it.
Interesting. Accepting instead of struggling.
Yeah. Then there's DBT, which we mentioned earlier, dialectical behavior therapy. That's more focused on building specific skills to cope with really intense emotions.
Skills like?
Distress tolerance, getting through crises without making things worse. Interpersonal effectiveness, navigating relationships. Impulse control. It emphasizes finding a wise mind, that balance between emotion and logic.
Finding balance, okay.
And mindfulness practices are huge too. Just cultivating that present moment awareness without judgment. It increases your awareness of emotions, your ability to tolerate them, and reduces knee-jerk reactions.
Sounds like tools anyone could benefit from, really.
They absolutely are. Which brings us, unfortunately, to a major barrier: stigma.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The stigma around mental health, it's still such a big problem, isn't it?
It really is. Our sources defined it well. Stigma is the negative attitudes others have. Prejudice is the negative beliefs. And discrimination is how those limit opportunities for people with mental illness.
And there are different kinds.
Yeah, public stigma, society's negative views. Self-stigma, when you internalize that shame yourself. And structural stigma, the systemic stuff, like policies or lack of insurance parity that disadvantage people.
And the impact is just huge. It stops people from getting help.
Absolutely. Fear of being treated differently, losing your job, judgment. It makes people delay or avoid treatment altogether.
And it can make symptoms worse, lower self-esteem, hope.
All of the above. It strains relationships, impacts work, can even reduce treatment adherence if someone does seek help but feels ashamed. And it affects families too.
And for some communities, like certain racial or ethnic groups, there are extra layers. Cultural values or historical distrust, making stigma an even bigger barrier.
Sadly, yes. Fear of stigma within the community or distrust of the healthcare system can prevent people from accessing services.
So what can we do about it? How do we reduce this stigma?
Well, on a larger scale, public health approaches work. Things like promoting contact with people who have lived experience, sharing stories, focusing on various disorders, tailoring messages to specific groups, and making it a long-term effort.
And individually, what can we do?
Lots, actually. Talk openly about mental health. Educate ourselves and others. Be really conscious of the language we use. Avoid stigmatizing terms.
Treat mental health like physical health. Encourage that equality.
Exactly. Show compassion. Be honest about seeking treatment yourself if you're comfortable. Challenge negative media portrayals.
Basically, choose openness over silence.
Yes. Every conversation helps break down those barriers, makes it safer for people to seek help. It's about creating a society where reaching out for mental health support is seen as a sign of strength, of self-awareness.
Absolutely. That supportive environment is just so crucial, making it normal, making it okay.
Remember, looking after your mental health is every bit as important as your physical health. Help is out there, and you don't have to go it alone.
We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights into mental health, the work therapists do, and maybe a better understanding of your own emotional world. It's clear that seeking support is a sign of strength.
And there are many paths to improving well-being.
If you like what you're hearing, please subscribe. Also, liking, sharing, and commenting on the podcast helps us so much and means so much to us. Thanks for tuning in.